As we have already done a video on the 10 most powerful traitor legions, we will now assess and rank the 10 most powerful Space Marine chapters of the Imperium as of the late 41st and early 42nd millennium. As with the other video, putting these powerful astartes chapters in ascending order of size, power and strength is no easy feat. There will be disagreements and the comment section is where you air out your frustrations. Anyway, here we will take into account not just the chapter origins, but their notable engagements into context as well as present military strength, resources as well as leadership and political influence. So let's get into it. At number 10 we have the Salamanders. On the bottom of this list, but way ahead of hundreds of other chapters, is the unique and powerful Salamanders. Originally known as the Dragon Warriors or the 18th Legion, the Salamanders are not just known for their ferocity in battle but also their love for humanity, and not just the Emperor. The Salamanders are the most loyal chapter of the Imperium of mankind, but ironically, they look like demon-possessed warriors. They are also very few in number, with only around 700 to 800 in their chapter, so not even a full chapter. But with the Primaris reinforcements, they are now at full chapter strength again, and with newer ones being forged. A unique genetic trait possessed by the Salamanders is a gene seed known as Firesight. This visual sensitivity to infrared emissions allows Salamanders to focus on particular heat signatures. They also have another advantage over other astartes. These black-skinned Space Marines have a higher tolerance to heat and radiation as well as having a higher rate of healing, therefore making them very hard to kill. At number 9 we have the Deathwatch. Members of this esteemed chapter are comprised of veteran Space Marines taken from other chapters to work under the Order Xenos, an organization of the Imperium that specializes on hunting and killing as well as capturing and studying other alien species that are a threat to humanity. As it is stated, out of 100 men there may be none that are fit to be a Space Marine, but out of 100 Space Marines only one may be fit enough to be in the Deathwatch. Their origins are traced back to the 32nd millennium during the War of the Bees, when small kill teams of 4 to 5 elite Space Marines were chosen for dedicated behind-the-lines operations. As the Chamber Militant of the Inquisition's Ordo Xenos, they have a great deal of influence as well as being tasked with operations that are just out of the hands of other normal chapters. Their numbers, though, are the limiting factor in getting them higher up the list. Number 8. Iron Hands. Steel over flesh. The flesh is weak. The Iron Hands are a chapter that descended from one of the greatest Space Marine legions that stemmed out of the Great Crusade. They are notable for their heavy use of bionics and their reverence for all things mechanical, and thus they have very close ties with the Adeptus Mechanicus. While others hold the Dreadnoughts in high regard, this reverence is even more so in the Iron Hands as they consider it one of the greatest blessings to be enshrined in one. Operating out of their home world called Medusa, these Astartes warriors are adept in heavy ordnance combat. They are divided into clan companies which not only battle Xenos and Chaos, but sadly also amongst themselves. And this, along with siring just a handful of successor chapters, is why they are so low on this list. Nevertheless, the Iron Crusade, that was a campaign of retaliation against the Night Lords and their Chaos forces in the planet of Morion, chasing the attackers away, cements them as still one of the most powerful Space Marine chapters till date. Number 7. The Black Templars. These are descendants of the Imperial 5th Legion, and they specialize in close quarters combat as well as mass assault or planetary invasions, quite the opposite of the Imperial 5th, if you think about it, which are highly specialized in defense rather than offense. The Black Templars are the most powerful second founding chapters. They are extremely devout and have very tight relations with the Ecclesiarchy, and even have an Ecclesiarchy representation on the Leadership Council. They are, in a sense, the Loyalist word-bearers. Their close ties with the religious organization of the Imperium grants them power to resist or even defy the Inquisition. The Black Templars are also by far the most numerous single chapter, with 4,000 to 7,000 Marines in total, which means that they do not adhere to the Codex Astartes, but there is an exemption clause, because they are in constant crusade, a crusade that have been going on for 10,000 years. Sadly, unlike most other chapters, they do not possess librarians or psychers due to some unknown reason. Number 6. The Imperial Fizz. These are one of the first founding chapters and also the Sons of Rogel Dawn. They differ from others in that they do not have a homeworld, but they are located on Terra guarding the throne alongside the Custodes. They rely on their mobile space fortress Phalanx to act as their fortress monastery, and they keep a lot of recruitment chapels on numerous worlds around the Imperium so that their numbers are always stable even after suffering heavy losses time and again. They and their successor chapters have a close brotherhood, and every few years they hold an event known as the Feast of Blades, which is a brother bonding competition. Other than that, they can also recall their successor chapters for Defense of Terra in a pact called the Last War Protocol, and even the Deathwatch has to obey, which is why the Imperial Fists are above in ranking. They also command Acadian Shock Troop Auxiliary Corps that serve as their own personal Imperial Guard, and alongside their good ties with the Custodes, this puts them on the 6th spot here. At number 5 we have the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights are a secret Loyalist chapter of Space Marines entrusted with battling extremely dangerous warp demons and all those who harness the vile might of Chaos and their Chaos Gods. They serve as the military arm of the Chamber Militant of the Order Malleus, the Demon Hunters, the oldest branch of the almost omnipotent Imperial Inquisition. Grey Knights were once the pinnacle and the epitome of grim dark. It was usually a death sentence to see them. When the Grey Knights came onto a planet to thwart a demonic incursion, they were not there to save the world. They were sent there to halt the demons' assault and then kill everyone on the planet. Aside from that, they were the only Space Marines that had their gene seeds engineered directly from the Emperor's DNA, thus making them powerful psychers and also resistant to chaos corruption. They do not follow the Codex Astartes and no one knows their true numbers. Their ties with the Inquisition and their highly secretive protocols makes them one of the deadliest Astartes, especially against demonkind. Number 4. The Space Wolves. Led by the Great Wolf Logan Grimnar, easily one of the most powerful chapter masters in the Imperium, the Space Wolves are a deadly force of Space Marines, the chapter that is responsible and tasked with shock assault, search and destroy, as well as anti-Astartes warfare. The Space Wolves by design lack a stable gene seed and possesses a component known as the Canis Helix, which grants them unique abilities not found in other legions, such as increased aggression, heightened senses, and the ability to transform into a Space Marine werewolf, known as the Curse of the Wolfen. They also have a pact with House Belisarius, which trades navigators for bodyguards. Their fortress monastery known as the Fang was created on the instructions of the Emperor of Mankind himself, who granted the wolves greater manufacturing capabilities, which is why Space Wolves recruits have no lack of power armor. They are also the only chapter that have dealt a serious ass whooping on the Inquisition and their Grey Knights and then came back home for chicken dinner. Number 3. The Dark Angels. The Dark Angels chapter is made up of the 1st Legion descendants who specialize in combined arms and specialized combat. They were the 1st Legion and many of their initial members fought with the Emperor himself during the Unification Wars. They even had the Emperor enhance some of their early recruits to get extraordinary psychic resistance and also other benefits. Unlike the other legions, the Dark Angels never actually divided into chapters, and as a result, they frequently function as a unified legion in secret. All other Dark Angel successor chapters obey the Dark Angels chapter master Azrael's orders, and now with the Primarch Lion L. Johnson's return, their morale and influence has greatly increased. They were also entrusted with a large amount of high-tech Dark Age of Technology period weaponry. They likely still retain a lot of it, as well as their designs on board the Rock, their fortress monastery. Even while having a lot of warriors and a recently awakened Primarch, their political influence, however, is lacking due to their elusive and secret nature as well as their obsession with hunting the fallen. Number 2. The Blood Angels. They are the descendants of the 9th Legion who specializes in close quarters combat, shock assault and aerial warfare. They are the sons of the greatest Primarch ever, in my opinion, who is Sanguinius. The Blood Angels have a secret genetic problem though, known as the Red Thirst, as well as a psychological component created by the Primarch's death known as the Black Rage. The Red Thirst leads the Marines to want blood and can even turn into vampire-like creatures, killing everyone in sight. The Black Rage gives them a part of their Primarch's might and can withstand damage that would normally kill a regular Astartes. They are led by their Lord Commander Dante, one of the greatest Space Marines chapter masters, who is himself the anointed leader of the sector of the Imperium cut off from the Astronomicon by the Great Rift. So that means that their leader commands half the galaxy, which gives them a massive military and political influence. Also, Dante has reformed them into a legion once again, so their numbers are in the tens of thousands, second only to the Ultramarines. Now they are in the Imperium Nihilist, fighting an endless war against all enemies of mankind. And number 1, obviously the Ultramarines. The Men in Blue are obviously the most powerful chapter in the Imperium, no doubt about that. They have the numbers, which can be counted as 50% of all the Astartes total Marines if the successor chapters and the new Primaris are taken into account. They also have their own sector, Ultramar, which is highly autonomous and prosperous. They also have a gigantic fleet of ships that are sent to various sectors to fight off enemies of humanity. But the one greatest asset that puts them clearly on top is the fact that their Primarch is not just well and alive, but he is in fact the Lord Commander and Lord Regent of the Imperium. This means that the Ultramarines hold a political and military position that is unchallenged and leagues ahead even beyond the Blood Angels with their Imperium Nihilist half. Aside from that, the Ultramarines have served in the most battles and won the most. They are the angels of humanity that have defeated the Tyranids in Ultramar as well as Baal. They have beaten back the Orcs in countless campaigns, and they have dealt with the Eldar and Tau threats as well as forging alliances with those against greater foes like the Tyranids. And last but not least, they are the ones that the Chaos Legions fear the most. So that's it, the 10 most powerful Space Marine chapters, the Loyalist ones. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button for support and subscribe, but most of all smash that bell icon for regular updates on new videos here on this channel. Take care, boys.